Hello, Luna Owls, fifth graders. This is your teacher, Miss Adeniji. Today we're doing the test review for adaptations on STEM scopes. All right, so we're going to start with the pre-assessment first. So number one says some adaptations of a hawk are illustrated here. Which of these adaptations most likely help the hawk keep other hawks out of its territory by warning them from far away? All right, so I'm just going to box in this. Helps the hawk keep other hawks out of its territory by warning them from far away. So our answer choice is brown head, the brown head, which is right here, loud call, hollow bones, or sharp claws. So of course we know it's not the brown head. The brown head is not going to warn other animals to keep away. It's not the hollow bones because the bones are what it's the structure of the hawk, not the sharp claws, because the hawk is standing on this branch and it sees another animal coming towards it, and what is it going to do? It's going to make a loud call. Okay. Number two, some animals have fur that is dark for part of the year and white for part of the year. This adaptation would be an advantage to animals that live in an environment with heavy rains for most of the year, seasons that include a snowy winter, a very hot and dry climate, or many forests with tall trees. All right, so the fur is dark for part of the year and white for part of the year. I'm gonna box that in. Okay. So why would you think that the fur is dark for one part of the year and then white for the next part? Do you think it has to do anything with heavy rainfalls for most of the year? I don't think so. I don't also think it has to do anything with a hot or dry climate because this is fur, okay? They have fur that's changing. They're most likely not going to be in an area that is hot. Um, Also, what is the other answer right off the back that we know probably wouldn't be an answer? Many forests with tall trees. It wouldn't really have an advantage in an environment that had many trees if its fur was changing. Now, if it changed colors to where it could camouflage within the trees, yes, but this fur is turning from dark and white, so it doesn't really help. And same with heavy rainfalls, it's not going to help it. So it would most likely live in an area that has a season that includes a snowy winter so that they could camouflage within the snow. Number three, all of the following adaptations help plants like the cactus survive in the hot, dry climates of a desert, except, and we know that except means not, right? So except means not. So let's think of adaptations that help cactuses survive in hot and dry conditions, right? So what are adaptations that help cactus? So growing tall over many years, a thick waxy outer covering, the ability to store water, spines to protect from animals. So we know right off the bat that cactuses store a lot of water. So we know that that is an adaptation for cactuses. So we know that's not the answer. We also know that cactuses have a thick waxy outer covering. So we know that that is not the answer. We also know that cactuses have spines outside of as an exterior to protect itself from other animals. But cactuses growing tall, they vary. We have cactuses in all different shapes and form. So this is not going to be an adaptation that's really going to help it survive in hot, dry climates. All right, number 4, giraffes are animals that live in the grasslands of Africa. They have extremely long necks and long tongues. These two adaptations most likely help them A, to travel quickly across the plains, B, reach food high in the trees, C, defend themselves against predators, or D, tolerate the heat of their environment. So the adaptation that we're talking about is long necks and long tongues. So we know that it having a long neck and a long tongue is going to help it do what? Most likely eat, right? I know this doesn't, yeah. All right, so most likely eat. So we're looking for an answer that goes with helping the giraffe eat. So we know right off the bat that it's not going to be tolerate the heat of their environment because having long necks and long tongues doesn't benefit them because they're actually closer to the sun. All right, so we know that's not going to benefit them in tolerating the heat. We know that it's not going to help them defend themselves against predators because predators are still going to be able to get them even though they're tall and travel quickly across the plains. I don't think that long necks or the tongues help it travel quickly across the plains. So it's most likely it's to reach food high in the trees. Right, number 5. Which of the following adaptations of a cow helps it to survive by allowing it to eat and digest large amounts of grass? So I'm going to box in eat and digest large amounts of grass. Again, we are talking about eating. So we're looking for an adaptation that involves a cow eating. Okay, so our answer choices are A, long thick tail, it can swing about. B, large brown eyes with long lashes. C, wide flat teeth and four stomachs. D, tough divided hooves and strong legs. So right off the bat, we know that the answer choice D is not it because strong legs has nothing to do with digesting large amounts of grass. Also, we know that the eyes with long eyelashes doesn't help it digest large amounts of grass. And also the tail does not, its swinging does not help it digest large amounts of grass. But we do know that it does have wide flat teeth. And if you didn't know, cows do have four stomachs so they are able to digest large amounts of grass. So, all right, now we're on our concept and entailment quiz. So this is the vocabulary matching. So remember we had talked about adaptation. We did talk about camouflaging. It was actually called defense adaptation. We did not talk about function, but we did talk about mimicry, right? So protective colorings are markings that make an animal organism appear to be part of its surrounding. What do you think that is? Protective colorings or markings that make an organism appear to be part of its surrounding. Should be B. Sorry. It should be B. All right, so this is actually camouflage because it's appeared to be part of its surroundings, okay? Functioning changes that allowed organisms to obtain food and keep safe. We know that that is adaptations. Functions changes that allow organisms to obtain food and keep safe. Yes, without these adaptations, they would not be able to survive. Without these functional changes, they would not be able to survive. The use of colorings or markings to look like another organism or object is mimicry, right? Mimicry, remember we talked about the frog or the chameleon um, camouflaging itself. No, sorry, we were talking about the insect that looked like a leaf and it camouflaged itself in a bunch of olive leaves to hide from predators. The use of a certain item is actually a function. I got those two mixed up. Sorry, but this is actually C. Right? So B, A, B, C. Oh, wow. All right. So identify how each adaptation helps the organism survive in a specific environment. So number one says the white fur of an Arctic hare, it would camouflage itself from predators. A spider's ability to spin webs is useful to catch prey. A hummingbird's migration allows the hummingbird to escape winter. Thick rubber on a seal keeps the animal warm. Bright coloring on a poisonous frog warns it to predators. Speck, speckled frog eggs in a bird's nest helps camouflage it from predators. Sharp teeth on a tiger is useful to tear meat on prey. And short, stout beak on a cardinal is useful to crack open seeds. All right, so our last one is our post assessment. All right, so some birds have large, sharp claws and beaks. These most likely eat, and we're talking about a bird. We're not talking about a lion or a tiger. We're talking about birds, right? So they most likely eat small animals, tall grasses, pond microorganisms, or tiny insects. Okay, so we know that they wouldn't eat pond microorganisms because I know we didn't talk about pond microorganisms, but you wouldn't even be able to see microorganisms because they are very, 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 very tiny, right? Would not be tall grasses because that's not the purpose of it having sharp claws and beaks. If it did eat grass, its beak probably would not be sharp. Not tiny insects as well, so we know they'd be small animals. And the reason why it wouldn't be tiny insects, again, um, its beak isn't designed to pick up tiny things that are really, really tiny. Okay. Number two, which adaptation of a frog helps it capture insects to eat? So we know that we're going to be um, looking for something that has to involve its mouth, right? Right. Number one says croaking sound. B says sticky tongue. C says laying eggs. D says smooth skin. So we know laying eggs has nothing to do with catching insects to eat, nor does smooth skin. And the croaking sound, it probably will catch the attention of an insect to bring it closer, but it's not going to help it to catch it, right? So the sticky tongue is what's going to help the frog catch the insects because once it has it, it can't go anywhere because its tongue is sticky. All right, number three, some bears have thick furs of fat and fur that help to keep them warm. These adaptations are best suited to an environment that is A, dry, B, cold, D, dark, or D, windy. So it has thick layers of fat and fur to help keep them warm, right? So if they're trying to keep warm, we know that they're definitely not going to live in somewhere that's dark. Well, probably somewhere dark because then it would be like, it would equate that they live in an environment that's cold. But dark doesn't always mean cold, right? Not windy either. Um, Environments that are windy can also be like tropical islands or places that are very hot, not places that are dry, because usually places that are dry are very hot. So they would have to live somewhere that's cold. Number four, all of the following would be adaptations that would be an advantage in a hot desert, dry desert habitat, except A, being active at night,